Okay, let's take a look at that independent practice problem 3. So we're graphing some polynomials here, and a few things to remember is just we can't really draw a graph until we have everything factored out. We want to be able to figure out the x-intercepts, we want to be able to figure out the y-intercept, and we want to figure out the direction that it's going. Okay, so let's take a look at problem A. First thing that I'm going to note is that the degree is 4, and both sides of the graph are going downwards. Okay, so from here, let's go ahead and factor this. So I'm going to take out the negative x to the 4th minus 8x squared minus 9. Factor this into x squared minus 9 and x squared plus 1. Okay, again, you can use grouping to do that, keeping my negative in the front. Now, this first parentheses, again, it breaks down again, so just be careful. Okay, plus 3 and x minus 3, x squared plus 1, and negative. Okay, now let's mark this on our graph. So we've got negative 3 as a 0, we've got 3 as a 0, and this last factor actually will give you not a real solution. It ends up giving you like plus or minus I as solutions, and we can't really graph that, so we're just kind of going to ignore this part. Okay, so now that we have these two zeros, I'm going to go ahead and mark them on the graph. We're going to have negative 3 and positive 3. Okay, and we know that both sides of my graph should be going downwards. The other useful piece of information would be, of course, the y-intercept. So if we plug in 0 for our x's, we can solve for that pretty easily. Let's do it off to the side over here. So negative 0 to the 4th power. 8 times 0 squared plus 9. You should get that it equals 9. It's always that last number that comes out. So right here, and we can connect all of our dots together to make our graph. So we're going to go straight through this point and then straight through this one as well. And it's not the prettiest graph, but it does the job. Now let's look at graphing problem B here, okay? So number 3B, we have this problem already factored out, but again, let's note the degree. So I have 1 and 1 here, so 1, 2, 3, 4 total. And I am again a negative, okay? So we are pointing both of these downwards. So with that, we're gonna now take a look at what our zeros are. Negative x, x minus 3 squared, and x plus 2. Okay, so remember this one is going to be 0, 0. Okay, this one is a 3, 0. But because of the multiplicity 2, I'm going to note this one is a bounce rather than just going straight through it. And of course, x plus 2 is going to end up being negative 2, 0. So let's mark these on the graph. And because I have 0, 0, my y-intercept is already taken care of. Let's connect the dots with the arrows, but make sure to bounce off of the 3. So our line goes through negative 2, through 0, and then we'll bounce off of the positive 3 to make it go downwards. Again, the graph isn't necessarily beautiful, but it gets the job done. Okay, let's look at that last part of this one. Okay, so here we go. Let's try to break this polynomial up. Again, first thing, note the degree. My degree for this one, I'm going to go ahead and say the degree is 3, and it is a positive. So I'm going to be going down on the left and up on the right. It is an odd positive polynomial. Okay, and for this one, 2x cubed minus x squared minus 4x plus 2, I'm going to go ahead and just group and factor this. Okay, because conveniently enough, I can take out x squared from this polynomial and get 2x minus 1. And from here, we'll take out negative 2, and we'll get 2x minus 1. So we get x squared minus 2, and we'll also get 2x minus 1 as another polynomial. Now, x squared minus 2 is kind of a funky one, okay? When we solve this, we will get x squared equals 2 and x equals plus or minus square root 2. Now, this is roughly like a weird decimal, 1.41. Okay, I'm just going to be close to it and get close to the number. It's going to be 1.5. Okay, and then my other number right here is going to be 0.5 when I solve it, or just 1/2, let's say. Okay, so we have this, we have root 2 comma 0, and then negative root 2 comma 0. This one's not like the nicest numbers, but we can still go ahead and plot this on our graph. So we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so here is my 1/2 between 0 and 1, my root 2 in front of the 1, and then my root 2 negative in the back here. Okay, so you can think of these as being close to 1.5 and negative 1.5. That's rounded, okay, just being kind of close to it, okay? And we know that we start out down on this side and we should be coming up on this side, okay? If we plug in 0, you can find the y-intercept is this plus 2 at the end here. So we have 0 comma 2 as the y-intercept. And let's take advantage of that as well to help us get a good sketch. So here we go. Let's connect our lines together. We're just going through all of these points. There are no bounces or wiggles on this one. So there you go. We have our graph. Even though some of the zeros were kind of some ugly numbers like 1.5 or root 2 or 0.5, and we were still able to find those. Okay. So just note, we did approximate those two numbers. It is 1.5-ish and negative 1.5-ish. They're closer to 1.4 really. Okay, but that is roughly what the sketch of your graph will look like.